And Stanley, good God, she's been through enough. Hola, amigos.
What up?
We are here to give you part 2, the other half of the update on integrating our sheep.
The reckoning.
I think last we left you, we were very hopeful. You know, a little bit of checking each other out and eating. It was going well for like an hour. And then, just like chickens, they have to establish their dominance in their pecking order. And it became very clear that Maggie was not going to be on the top. She wasn't going to be anywhere near it. She's going to be on the bottom. Everybody let her know it. Some, you know, would just nudge her a little bit, or hey, you know, go over there. Don't eat with us right here. You can eat over there. But in particular, the most surprising, which I guess shouldn't have been, was the white one, the all white one. We're calling her Blanca. She, I guess, figured, hey, this is my chance. I don't have to be at the bottom anymore. I'm gonna push her around. She can be at the bottom. And she got super aggressive, like full on, like started trotting, headbutting her and everything. And so it was not very nice at all. And Maggie,
that's a mom's take on it. I mean, I don't know that it was that bad, but
it was that bad. And so poor Maggie, you know, she tried to stand her ground a little bit when they would nudge her, but like if somebody's coming at you on the side, you know, you can't do anything. And so it wouldn't have bothered me so much the first few times, except the white one had already gotten tangled in the electric fence. And so luckily it was off when that happened. So she knows that it's a dangerous thing. And what did she do? She purposely tried to push Maggie into the fence. So, Maggie's my baby, and that's not happening. So I had to get in the pen with them and have a talk with them several times. I had to get onto them when they were trying to do it in front of me. But funny enough, they are very curious and jealous. So when I would get in, Maggie, you know, her feelings were hurt. So she wanted to come up to me and get her little scratchies on her head and get loving. And they thought that was the craziest thing they'd ever seen in their lives. They'd never been loved like that. So I let them know if they're good girls, they'll get loving too, and they'll get scratchies. The dominant one, Dot is what I'm calling her. She's the one that's got a little bit of brown, but mostly white. She actually let me touch her head just a little bit, and then that's been the only time. But at least, you know, they're not completely running away, and they are curious, especially when you have food and stuff, so that's good. But yeah, but since then, it's gotten better each day. I think now they will let Maggie eat with them, like if it was one pile. But, you know, Rick spreads it around everywhere, and so they all can space out. But still, like before, even if they had their own space, they would still go from their piles across the pasture and try to butt Maggie out of hers. So now they all get along much better during eating time. And that was the progression too. They would only do it during eating time because, well, you know, they're pregnant, they're hangry. You know, I don't blame them. I was the same way. And so I get it, but you know, there's plenty to share, so they didn't have to beat her up for it. So now it's much better. They live harmoniously. They sleep together and stay warm because it's been really cold. And they eat together. So yeah, so far, so good. Very pleased.
Yeah.
There's still not any lambs. No
lambs.
Babies yet. They're getting bigger, for sure.
Oh yeah.
We're not exactly sure. Some of them definitely look like they've got multiples in there. Some look like maybe one, but they're all very big. So we just don't know yet. You know, we won't know till like maybe 2 days before that they're gonna deliver. So we'll see. But yeah, there they are. Say hi to the ladies. When they're eating, they don't care. They just don't care. So the one on the left here, all white, that's Blanca. The one on the far right over there with the one brown dot on her shoulder, that's Dot. Maggie here in the center, of course. And then back in the back, we don't have a name for her yet. So if y'all have an idea, let us know what you think about her name.
And then, of course, the whiny one over there. We got Gapo over there. He's been making his progress.
He is. He is. Had to have a little mommy intuition time just to make sure things go right.
This boy is on the spectrum.
Yeah. We realized that, yet again, we have a special needs family member.
Yes.
And you know, you can't do what you do with other people, and we know that life very well, so we had to tweak some of the training and behaviors, and it works better for him, better for us.
That's the sheep update. Let's go check on the chickens and see what they have to say after quite a Sunday. Tell us, why are you still in jail and not running around crazy?
It's not jail.
Stanley, what happened, bro? You're looking a little rough. Blanche, ¿qué pasó, Blanche?
Yeah. So Sunday was not a great afternoon for La Vida Buena Acres.
For all of chickendom.
For the chickendom, yes. So we came back from our day of errands and whatnot, and it was about 4:30. And we got out, got in the house, got our boots on and everything, come out and do the chores, and came out to the chickens. And we had left the fence open so that they could go free range and do like they do. And I noticed that when I came to collect eggs and everything, like none of the chickens were around. Not unusual, but it was 4:30 and they usually start heading back around that time. So I start calling for them because I had treats for them, and that always brings them back, and nobody was running up to me. Okay, very, very odd. And so I walkie-talkied the man of the house, and I said, hey, where are the chickens? I don't see them over there. I figured they were probably in the grove or something like they like to be. He said, no, they're not over here. I said, well, I'm calling them and they're not coming. So then he tries to call them way across the property. They're not coming to him either. So I'm like, okay, like something's up. What's going on? Where are they? How come they can't hear us? So I start going down through the pasture, kind of like I'm gonna go towards the deer feeder. And sure enough, we see feathers on the ground. The man of the house by this point is all the way up by the deer feeder. And I'm talking like a very large circle of feathers, and only feathers. So obviously something had gotten to him. So we start looking around. Well, then we find like 4 more other piles of feathers. Still no chickens. So we keep calling and calling. I have no idea where any of them are. I'm freaking out. And finally, the man in the house finds a body. So we found one body that had just feathers missing off the back of the patch. We found one where it really didn't look like she was externally injured, so maybe like her neck was broken or something, but she was obviously dead. Then we found another one that was only a head, and then that was it. Well, so we kept calling, and luckily we kept calling and calling. One of them, which would have been Rose, which is over there, one of our original Golden Girls, she comes squawking like crazy. And it's like it's just a very sad, sickly squawk, and scared. And she was moving, like her feathers were all disheveled. And I was like, oh my God, where are you? She lucked out. She went and hid. Then we don't see really any more come up. So then I come back up here towards the coop and I start calling again. And luckily out past that way behind the coop, some more chickens came out, slowly but surely. So I thought, okay, I don't know how y'all wound up over here, but thank goodness y'all are here. At this point, all we found so far are like 4 chickens, and we know 3 are dead. But we don't hear Stanley. And Stanley, right, like Stanley crows if we're coming around, like we're dangerous. Stanley crows if the birds fly. I mean, he crows all the time. And we couldn't hear him. So sure enough, I keep calling and I finally hear Stanley, and he's like way at the opposite end of the property, like near the road, and I can hear it. I'm like, that's Stanley's crow. Why would he be over there? So man of the house had to go down the road. Sure enough, Stanley was trying to come back up the neighbor's driveway right here, but couldn't because their dogs were out, and so he couldn't get over here. They wouldn't let him over. It was a mess. So we had to get the neighbors to put their dogs away, open their fence so that Stanley could come through, because Stanley couldn't fly back over the fence like he did to get out, or whatever rush he ran out, because as you can see, he lost some feathers. So we're piecing everything together. We're like, you know what? this looks like a dog. Like this looks like the damage of a dog, but it wasn't Wapple. The neighbor said they heard a very loud, deep bark, which they haven't really heard Wapple do that bark yet, but we know he's gotten his big boy bark now. We're like, well, that could have been him signaling something. So luckily, the day before, the man of the house put the SD card back in the game cam. And sure enough, we pretty much captured everything that happened. So about 30 minutes before we got home, maybe like 40 minutes, 30 minutes. Anyway, the chickens are over there by the deer feeder because they like to get the little pellets that the deer don't get. And then about 10 minutes later, Stanley's and the Golden Girls, all of them were over there, and they were standing up with their heads really high, and I can see it in the picture. And I was like, they're at alert right now. Sure enough, the next picture was like 5 minutes later, and you see a coyote attacking Stanley and one of the Golden Girls. Some of the other chickens are all to the side, and I guess they're about to run away. And then the next picture, you don't see anything except for, actually nothing. And then the next picture, you see the coyote facing towards this way, but way still over there by the feeder with blood on his face. So, and with the timing of that, and then the next picture is him walking back into the woods, which given our timeline and everything, when he started looking this way, and then the next picture was him going in the woods, was when we arrived. So what we're thinking is he attacked. They were all right there, easy picking by the feeder because they went too far. And he was able to kill 3, and coyotes won't just like kill and eat right there. They'll kill and they'll take it somewhere to eat it. And it doesn't have to be very far, but so sure enough, he started taking them to the woods, because later on when we tried to find everybody else's body, we saw feathers and then in the woods. And then when we got home, he must have been starting on the white one, and that's why she's missing the patch of feathers, but he didn't get to finish her and he didn't take her. And then the third one, the other Golden Girl, she was killed, but obviously he didn't get to her either. So unfortunately, we lost of our 6 original hens, our laying hens, right? The Olsen twins, they already died. And of the 4 Golden Girls, we lost Sophia and Dorothy. So now we are just down to 2. So our egg production has been cut in half. It was very stressed for a couple days there. They only gave like 5 eggs, but right now, you know, they're giving about 7 out of the 10. So, you know, they're healing. None of them went into shock, thank goodness. So the one with the busted wing, she wound up coming up much later than all the other ones. I kept calling and calling, and thank goodness I did, because eventually she came out of hiding and she was hobbling. You could tell she was maybe in a little bit of shock, and she was all busted. Her feathers were all over the place. So we picked her up, examined her, no puncture wounds, but her wing was definitely broken. So we looked up and asked our friends and stuff how to bandage it and sling it. It should heal. If it doesn't, at least, you know, well enough for her to fly, at least it can be in one piece so it doesn't hang. So she at first, that first night, she could not jump on the roosting bar. It was very, very sad. She'd jump up, she'd hit her head on it and she'd fall. And she kept trying, poor thing, but she was just so miserable. So I wound up picking her up and putting her in the laying box that they don't like to use. And Stanley, good God, she's been through enough. For the love of Pete. Stanley, I don't want to talk about it. And she's still very ornery, so that's good. She still got her attitude, but the first about day and a half, she was having a hard time. So we put her in the box the first night, and then she was able to hop out the next day. She busted her sling, so we patched it back on. And then by the second night, I think we still had to put her in the box. But then by the third night, she was able to jump in her box by herself now. So she's definitely getting some strength back and some attitude. And, you know, we're giving them extra protein and everything. But yeah, it's been pretty sad and pretty rough, because had we just been here a few minutes earlier, we hopefully could have prevented it. But so now we've got to work on our predator proofing. Wapple is now outside more often with all the animals to help protect them. I still can't trust them to be loose with the animals, but as long as they're in a fence and he's in a fence, or, you know, there's some sort of barrier, at least his bark will keep the predators away. So yeah, sad news, bad news, but they're on the mend. So that's the good news. And we will be looking to buy more layers soon. Not chicks, but like hens that are already close to or laying. So we'll see. But yeah, sorry for the bad news mixed with the good news, but that's how it goes. We're doing all right. Less sad now, but still just, you know, it's upsetting. It's our job to take care of them, be good stewards of the land and our animals, and we let them down. So we'll do better.
Such is the way.
But kudos to Stanley.
Kudos to
We thought
Stanley.
he was pretty worthless, and according to the pictures, he actually put up a little bit of a fight and warned the ladies. So he did save some lives that day.
Yeah, because actually some chickens, the brown one and some of my exceptionals actually got away. So
Yep.
not the best news, but anyway. So that's why we take Gapo on the nightly patrols, and that's what we got to go do now. So, you know, I can take you along. Let's go have fun. All right, Gapo. Vámonos. Let's go patrol. You're gonna see some of the craziness that is this boy running around. Here you go, boy. Mark it up. And, you know, he sniffs everything. Checks it all out, which is exactly what we want him to do. We want him to make his presence known and let any coyotes know that he lives here. This is his territory, not theirs. So yeah, this is what we've been doing on a nightly basis. You can see he starts going into the trees. This is probably his favorite time of day. I think he's all the way in there. Wapo! And he figures out his own little path. Come on! Good boy! So, you can see some of the feathers left over. And so this is where the coyote comes back through the tree. Come on. Good boy. Mark in the area. Come on. You go first. You go first. Andale, go. Don't look at me. You've made this crossing at least 3 times. Come on. Oi. Let the old man go first. So this is the I followed this kind of path, and I was able to find some remnants of our gal in these woods, so we could see which way the coyote went back. So we've been kind of following it. Come on. We've been following that path so that the coyote can smell us. And Wapo's been doing a good job of marking. So yeah, this is our nightly chores, which he very much enjoys. So, and I'm glad that we get to do it together because it allows him to be successful. And as one person on one of our Facebook groups put, it clicks. He gets this. Walking on a leash and not being crazy, not really something he gets. But this, patrolling with his pack, this he gets. And I can trust him for this. So, this is how we do it. Hope you're having a great holidays. Got your packages in. We'll talk soon.